There's this guy named Jack Sweeney. He's from UCF. He's choosing to track Taylor Swift. She has feelings about it. She's upset.
She threatened to sue this guy. Do you think this is a low blow for Taylor Swift suing a college student?
Hey, Kenny, have you ever had anybody track you in any way?
No, but I did get a request from my wife a few months ago, and I declined that very quickly. I don't want to be tracked. It's
Like
not a
Find My
suspicious
iPhone?
thing. Yes, correct. Yeah, I don't want to be tracked, and it's not because I'm up to no good, because I honestly live like a super boring life,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it builds a bad habit where once you know that you can track someone, I feel like it becomes habitual and you start checking into it and you're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I wonder where Connor is. I wonder where Matthew is. I wonder where Paula is." And so then you start to look, and it becomes an unhealthy habit, and I don't want anyone in my life to have the habit. So I'm like James Bond or Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible. Can't be tracked. I'm off the grid.
I have mixed feelings about it because I think like in relationships, especially doing that at stage one of your relationship or something,
It's a red
super,
flag.
super red flag, super
Yeah, it's a red
toxic.
flag.
Nobody do it. I used to have like 8 of my friends and then I just took them all off the like a month ago and I was like, it's sucking up the battery in my phone.
It drains your
We're
battery.
all just
Yeah.
going to the grocery store and like walking around. But I think when you have kids or something, it's amazing. But as far as being tracked goes, what you just said is the truth. It becomes like a hobby. It's like having a Tamagotchi and being like, what's our status? You're just constantly checking it. Yeah, it was funny. I was doing it for producer Molly every day. I was like, oh, good, cute. She's at Publix. Why do we do this? But speaking of tracking people, Taylor Swift is suing a college kid. Okay.
I heard
So
this.
first of all, this is good headline news, I feel like. There's this guy named Jack Sweeney. He's from UCF. And over the years, Sweeney has kept track of takeoffs and landings of hundreds of billionaires, politicians, other super rich, notable planes and helicopters. So this is just a thing this guy does. He's just into it. But now he's choosing to track Taylor Swift. She has feelings about it. She's upset.
She threatened to sue this guy. So Jack Sweeney is a college student from our alma mater, UCF. Big shout out. Probably this is what UCF is most famous for, I think.
No.
Probably Jack Sweeney, and then
Daniel
fake
Tosh.
winning. And Daniel Tosh is good. Actually, Molly sent me a Daniel Tosh that you can't play nowadays because it's really bad. He would have been canceled. It was unhinged, and I listened to it. Molly said it's so unhinged that I need to listen to it in a taxi, but I need to have AirPods in.
Taxi,
So it
not
was,
even in your own car, just in case.
yeah, just in case they're listening. But no, yeah, I would say that it's Daniel Tosh, Jack Sweeney, and then when UCF fake declared themselves the national champions for football, that was pretty cool. That's probably what got them on the map.
Cool.
That was cool. But Jack Sweeney he runs a service that tracks private jets, and he's been tracking a bunch of people. Famously, he was tracking Elon Musk, and Musk, he obviously didn't like this. He thought it was a security concern. It was an invasion of his privacy. The key thing to know here is this is public information. And Musk contacted Sweeney directly, initially offering $5,000 to shut down the tracking account.
You're like $5,000. You're Elon Musk.
$5,000. Yeah, you're Elon Musk. Just give him like a few. It was so cheap, right? Like I thought that was cheap, right? So, and then Sweeney countered with a request for $50,000 or an internship at one of Musk's companies.
Yes.
Along with suggestions for improving security measures.
Yes. Wouldn't you do it?
I mean, Elon, I feel like this was a missed opportunity. And so no agreement got reached, and Musk eventually blocked Sweeney on Twitter in January 2021. How weird is that? The richest guy in the world can't shell out 50 grand to make this problem go away?
I would just laugh. I mean, if you if a normal person said that and you're like, I don't know. That's a terrible bar. This is Alaska offering $1,500 all over again.
That's a good one, huh? Yeah. Now, do you think that that Taylor Swift was the one who prompted this, or do you think that it was someone on Taylor Swift's team? Like, is Taylor Swift aware that this is happening, or is it just someone in her entourage? Because she employs a ton of people.
No, I mean, in the articles online, it says like she feels wildly uncomfortable. She called for him to stop stalking and performing harassing behavior.
Mm,
And she's saying that like the jet tracking that he's been doing is causing her to live in a constant state of fear for her personal safety. So it's definitely like a her thing.
gotcha.
I don't know. It's kind of tough because in her eyes, she's like, this is a matter of life and death. Someone is stalking my every move. And I kind of completely understand where she's coming from because I'm a normal person and I can't imagine someone giving a shit about where I am all the time. But I don't think this guy had any bad intentions. It's one thing if he has like a bunch of Taylor Swift pictures all over his walls and he's just like a huge Swiftie and he's crazy. But he just does this to rich people's private jets. So I don't know. He said he like released his own statement and was like, I did not intend to harm her or anything. I'm just like using these very public accounts for transparency purposes. So to be honest, I feel a little bad for him. I don't know if that's controversial or not, but it's like, yeah, famous people are going to want to know where you are. I mean, she goes to like a fresh market and then walks outside and there's 8,000 people in the parking lot because they
It's
saw
crazy. She
a
can't go
sign
anywhere.
behind a story she posted. So like, what's the difference, you know?
Do you think this is a low blow for Taylor Swift suing a college student? Or if this was you, how would you handle it if you were Taylor Swift?
Well, it's kind of like someone looking something up about you that's online. It's like public information. And then you're like, how dare you talk about me like that? Like, I don't know. I hate that this is like information he got as if he went to the library and she's really torn up about it. It's like, if you're going to be mad at anybody, you should probably be mad at the Federal Aviation Administration for putting this data out there.
Yeah, it's true.
It's like who can track the aircraft and like the signals that they broadcast. All of it's just anybody can hack in. So I don't know. I feel like bad for him, to be honest. He's like, I didn't mean anything by it. Oh my God. And no one else really did what he's doing now.
I think he knows what he's doing though because of the Elon thing. I think that he plays it to his advantage. I think that he likes the clout. I mean, I've never really seen or heard him talk, but I would think that someone would go to this length. Like they'd like the views, they like the whole charade of it all. But I mean, Taylor Swift was in a bunch of Super Bowl frames. Speaking of Super Bowl, um, did you catch any of the commercials this year?
I only saw one, and I have to admit, it's not because I actually watched the Super Bowl.
What, you
I
didn't
went
watch?
to a Super Bowl party and then I just danced with my friend T-Pain in the backyard the whole time. I did not.
Just 3 hours of
watch
T-Pain,
the
really?
Super Bowl. So boring. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. And Usher, love him, but I was like, it was different when it was like Shakira and J-Lo. I was like glued to the TV.
No, I thought Usher was actually in most of the Super Bowl stuff, the Super Bowl halftime shows. I'm like, whatever. I thought Usher was really good. It was so nostalgic. And for 45 years old, I think that's how old Usher is, Molly, if you want to fact check that. But he was in incredible shape for 45 and he was dancing his ass off. It was crazy. I was like, it's insane. And
Wait, did
Usher,
he just do old bops or did he do like
did
new
all the
songs
old,
no one knew?
no, he did all the classics,
Okay.
all the old stuff. And do you know anything about Usher's dating history?
No.
So Usher has an interesting, I don't know, this, I probably have a problem, but I saw him dancing and I was like, who is he married to? Because you don't really hear a lot about his thing. And then you blew my mind the other day when you said that, wait, is it Eva Mendes is married to Ryan Gosling?
Yeah.
I never knew that. And those are like a Hollywood power couple. So
Now I'm
Anyway,
second guessing myself, but yeah, I'm pretty sure.
ooh, if I just said that with authority, it was because I was citing you. Thank you. But he, it's interesting. Usher likes the move. So he was married twice. Usher married a fashion designer, Tamika Foster, in 2007. So he marries his fashion designer. And then after they get divorced, he gets sick of her. Then he began dating Grace Miguel, who later became his manager,
Ooh, that's a cool
which is
move, but
interesting.
insane.
You should not be married to your manager.
Wait,
That's it.
who is this again? Usher
This is Usher. Yeah.
married his
So
manager. Okay, there's another person
first,
that we were just talking about that did this, but we'll get there.
so yeah, first he marries, I guess, his fashion designer. Then next he marries his manager, and then next he's been dating a music executive, Jennifer, and I'm not even Jennifer G is what we'll call her. So he definitely likes
He
to.
just wants to get
What's
all
the
of his
word?
shit for free. That's what this is really about.
He's like, if I work with you, I will marry you.
Stylist, don't pay her. Manager, don't pay
Don't pay
her.
her. Yeah, I
I
mean,
like his style.
yeah, and then he's also been linked to other celebrities, including Carrie Hilson, Rosaria Dawson, and Rihanna.
Oh my gosh,
Re-
incredibly gorgeous women. Holy crap.
yeah, I mean, Usher's a good-looking dude,
Carrie
and he can dance
Hilson,
like that.
you
I
have
don't
me
know who that is.
obsessed. There's a song called Pretty Girl Rock. Do the pretty girl rock. Yeah,
Oh,
that would
she's
be
pretty.
so cute, right?
Yeah,
She
she's
also sings
cute.
that song Knock You Down with Lil Wayne. You'll get back up and it'll knock you down. It's a really good one. And
Mm.
Rihanna, wow, one of the most powerful women in the world right now.
Yeah, who is Rihanna with nowadays?
Well, she just had a baby, so she's all wifed
She
up.
probably married some like billionaire, right? Oh no,
No, she's married to a rapper,
A
ASAP
ASAP
Rocky.
Rocky.
Yeah,
Ah, okay,
they're
all right.
actually a really, really cute couple. I feel like they just don't care about the limelight, and they just like live these insanely unrelatable lives, just being really good looking.
All right.
Okay.
Best Super Bowl commercial. What do you got?
Well, I only saw two of them. The Dunkin' Donuts one with J Lo and Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, where Matt Damon's like embarrassed and sad to be there. I thought that one was really good. And
Mm.
then the other one was a Dove ad where it just showed like adorable little girls. It was kind of like watching America's Funniest Home Videos. They're just like eating it, like falling and tripping, messing up. Those are always lovable videos anyway. Did you see it? The Dove It's a Hard Knock Life ad on the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. It's a really cool message, and I love a sentimental Super Bowl ad. You
Yeah.
know, I feel like in the early 2000s and maybe late 90s, they really went with like funny and quirky, and I love something with a lot of heart. So I thought this was really cool, and it's actually kind of sad too that they said that most girls don't play sports after the age of 14 because of they have like body issues. And then and I was like, oh, that's sad. Like we should empower like little girls. Like if I had a little girl, I wouldn't want her to be like, oh, I don't want to be in gymnastics because I don't like the way I look in a leotard. Like that's not cool. But then after I got past the emotional part of it, I went into the financial part. The crazy thing about the Dove ad is how much that it cost and how many bars of soap it's going to cost for them to repay that ad. Okay. So do you know the cost of a 30-second Super Bowl ad this year?
I'm going to take a stab in the dark. I'm going to say $5 million.
If this was 2017, you would probably be right. But this year, it was actually $7 million for 30 seconds. Now,
Oh,
I did a little bit of work and I asked how much is a Dove bar of soap? And roughly it's between $4 and $7. So let's put it at $5. You would have to sell, if you're Dove, 1.4 million bars of soap just to pay for the ad. That's not paying any of the actors, the production, anything. That's just paying for the ad. And then so you basically have to pay. Dove has to basically sell 4 bars of soap for every American just to pay for the Super Bowl ad. Crazy.
Gotta be so intensely worth it, though. You know what I mean? They wouldn't do, I mean, some companies would, but Dove has been around for so long. They've always been killing it and only getting better. I just feel like, I don't know. Has Dove gone down in popularity over the years? No.
No, I
They
think it's
kind of
one of those
have
like
to
classic
stay
brands.
in the like arena of badasses, you know? And
Yeah,
they have stuff that, I mean, you think a Dove soap bar is probably $1.50, but they have like a ton of stuff now. They have all these
mm,
serums and hairstyling things, and I think they have like over 50 products. So they probably rake it in, if I had to imagine.
yeah. I mean, Dove. I know it's more than just a bar of soap, but
In
oh, was I right about?
2010,
Oh,
Dove soaps were selling 15 million bars per year. In
oh, okay.
2010.
Oh, so they have to be way up there. But who knows? Because there could be, new entrants into the market. People are getting more health conscious about the type of soap that they use. So I wonder what they sell
That's
nowadays.
true. People used to just use Irish Spring and be like, I don't care what this is or what's in it.
Yeah.
I have some in my in my bathroom. Some
Do you
Irish
really? You
Spring.
use?
Yeah,
No way, really? It doesn't it dry out your skin?
probably.
All right, I just typed it in. How many bars of soap did Dove sell last year? The general idea, they don't really know. No one knows. It's very confidential. So yeah, let's just say between 10 and 20 million probably feels directionally correct.
The
In
brand
terms
was
of,
valued at $6.5 billion at the end of 2023. Okay, that's $7 million ad, whatever. Who cares?
yeah, and about 120 to 130 million people watch the Super Bowl. So that's basically 1/3 of America. So it's really the only way that you can guarantee that your brand gets in front of over 100 million people. So that's why you see companies that are even newer, like Poppy, who's one of our clients. Very cool. It was so cool to see one of our clients run an ad in the
Yeah.
Super Bowl. And I was like, oh my God, like Poppy, they're doing it. And I thought the ad was perfect and it put like a health conscious soda first. So I was super happy to see one of our own make it into the Super Bowl. That was cool.
I wish I knew like the psychology of marketing. You know, it's like we're spending
Mm,
all this money not for them to buy whatever flavor we advertised in the ad. We just want them 5 months from now to go to the grocery store, think in your head, I've never had any of these, but there's something familiar about that one that you
yeah,
see. You know, there's like so much strategy that goes into this stuff. I've never thought
so
about the
much.
soap market before. Now I can't get it out of my head.
Well, speaking of markets, did you see that there is a famous publicly traded company that has gone public and then now they're thinking that they may not even make it? So this is Soho House, reportedly is heading towards bankruptcy. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I've been to a Soho House in Malibu. It was fantastic. It was right next to Nobu, which was really cool. But Soho House, if you do not know it, it was once known for its exclusivity and appeal to creative types, and they're facing major financial challenges and really a loss of its charm, I think, is what's happening here at the core. And when I read the story, it reminded me a lot about what's happening with Delta Sky Club. But we'll table that for now. Connor, have you ever been in a Soho House?
I have. I was just about to say, did you just go like for lunch or something? Did you stay? Like, what did you do?
So we were in California and we actually had lunch with one of our investors in the Soho House in Malibu. And it was fantastic, like right there overlooking the ocean. And I was like, this is nice.
This is living. I've made it. Yeah. So I've been to two of them. There's one in New York, kind of near the meatpacking district, and then there's one in Chicago. And both times I've just been like, grabbing cocktails with my friends, hanging out at the pool kind of thing. You can't just walk in, which is the fun part. I think we're kind of phasing out of exclusive membership clubs right now. We're like going through a weird phase, but I think that it'll definitely come back. Everybody always wants to feel exclusive and elite and special for sure. So I think they'll come back, but I understand how it's kind of weird right now because we're in this like everybody deserves a chance to fit in phase of life. And Soho was like, you have to have XXX requirements to get in here. So I could see how, you know, people are breaking down the doors and being like, why does she get to get in? The weirdest part about it is, and I did not know this until producer Molly just told me, but they've never been profitable, not once. And going there, you would never think that. You walk in, the decor is beautiful, the drinks and food is amazing. It's confusing because there's one in London, all these global business hubs all over the place. I don't know. I wonder how that all shook out.
Yeah, so one of the things that's in our notes here that says, despite its rapid global expansion, the club is struggling with overcrowding. So this is one of the weirdest things about running anything that's exclusive and publicly traded, right? Because if you have something like Soho House, the exclusivity actually works against your growth, right? Because running a business, you want more members. But if you're too successful, then there's too many members, and then it gets crowded and then it takes away from the experience. And then you're forced having as the brand to disenfranchise some customers because you can't lose all the customers by having a bad experience. So you have to usually up the fees, which, could cause some denigration to the brand. And this is what really is happening with Delta, right? So if you're a frequent flyer and you've been roaming an airport for the last 2 years, chances are, if you were in a Delta hub, you've seen a line to get into Sky Club. This is because so many people have the credit cards that get you access into the club, or they make Diamond way too easy. Yeah. So the clubs were overcrowded. So there were times where, like 5 years ago, you could walk into like a club and it was, never more than 70% full. But me and Connor were in Atlanta, and it was basically standing room only.
That's the worst one. Terminal B, Atlanta.
Yeah, it was not. Was it Terminal B or C? It was the one that's like downstairs and kind of dingy. But I mean, it's weird to run that kind of business because, like, the more successful that you get, the worse your product gets.
Let me ask you a question.
It's always going to be that way.
How do you think that this happened? Do you think this has anything to do with like travel influencers or people posting pro tips? And now instead of having the CFO at the insurance company know all of the tips and tricks to be in the Sky Club, it's just like the little blonde girl from Florida is like, I saw it on TikTok. I got this credit card. What do you think the reason is? What's the rub with like all of this overcrowding? Where's it coming from?
Yeah, I think that it probably got really popular. It got exclusive. So it was like a place to be seen. And then it was priced at something that obviously the market bared the price, right? So enough people could afford it. So I think that the thing with Soho House is it suffers from the same issue that WeWork suffered from. So when you buy something like a Soho House, you're purchasing a building or some kind of like long-term lease, and then you have a long-term liability with short-term membership fees. So it's really hard to predict revenue, right? Because you can have really great months and then you could have bad months, but every month you still have to make rent. So it's a mismatch, right? So that's why WeWork never really worked at scale, because it was a long-term liability with a short-term rental. And so those are really tough businesses to run. But Soho House obviously had a little bit of success because it did go public and it got there. And then what I would say, and I don't know anything about the company and I haven't looked into it, but typically when companies are heading towards bankruptcy, they usually have something in their P&L or their like cost of goods sold got out of whack, right? So either their employee headcount is too high or they have bad financing on these buildings. But usually under the hood, there's something financial that really is the core driver of this thing, going off of the cliff. And these businesses are really hard to turn around too, because their choices are raise the price but that's going to possibly lose people. They can't lower the price because they're already too crowded. So it could be a business in a really, really tough place. And it reminds me of what's happening with Sky Club, and Delta had to come out and change all these policies, and people basically lost their minds. And then they had to go back and revert some of the policies to make it a little bit more soft. So it'll be something interesting to watch Soho House and then to watch Delta in the months and years to come of how they deal with their lounges and these private spaces for their top members.
It's cool relating it to WeWork. You're right. It's like 10 people could sign up in 10 minutes and, only one of them could ever actually go to a Soho House and spend money throughout the year. You just have no idea. But I know it's not super hard to become a member, but there's a wait list, and they made it as a creative networking space. So initially, I don't know if it's still the case, but initially you had to be within a creative industry in order to even apply. So that's cool. Kind of cool. But
so us being marginally famous podcasters, do you think we would get in or no?
Yeah, of course.
We're famous to like a few hundred people, and I wonder if that's enough to tip the scales.
I feel like if you are co-host of a podcast, yeah, you're good. Why not? It's like I just looked it up. It's like $3,200 roughly a year to be a member. And then there are so many of these places. It's crazy. Toronto, Stockholm, Rome, all the places you already know and think of. Mumbai, Nashville, London, Hong Kong. Super cool. I mean, I really hope that they end up thriving because they put a lot of thought into those places. They're super beautiful and boutique-y feeling. You feel special.
Special.
All right. Well, we just gabbed about random stuff, but I do love a good Soho House. I would do anything actually to go there right now. It's $4.19 on a Friday, which means you could sit on a rooftop and have a margarita.
That sounds delightful, but I'm actually opting to take a nap because sleep last night was tough to come by because there was a Tokyo drift party outside our hotel room. And then there was also a raging club. And if I have known that, I would not book that Marriott ever again because it was impossible to sleep. So if we look like we're dragging and you're watching on YouTube, it's because I was in my room. I text Connor at 2:30 in the morning. She's somewhere else in the building. And I'm like, do you hear this? And she immediately
you just hear like a fishtail of a car, and then you just hear a group of girls go, woo! You're almost asleep, and then you just hear that one, brunette girl named Tiffany go, woo! And then you're just wide awake.
Come on, again. Tiff, come on.
Anyways, all right. I think it's nap time. That was fun. We'll see you next week. Later, nerds.